Hey guys, Giant Jason here. We're here with a spoiler-filled review of Deadpool, the new Marvel film, which has just been released. I know Jai saw it on Friday, and I just saw it today, so I'm very anxious to discuss the film. So be warned, if you have not seen the film, do not watch this video. Go see the film and then come back and unpause this. That's the way to do it, because we are going to talk pretty much about everything that happens. So Jai, what are your thoughts on the film?
Okay, jumping straight into it. No, actually, before I get into it, I will make a little disclaimer. I'm not the biggest fan of the character Deadpool. I have not read many of his books, but the few that I have just kind of, it's just kind of too on the nose. Like his humor, his breaking the fourth wall. In comics, that feels really forced. So yeah, I'm not really a fan of the character Deadpool. So going into this, I was excited for it. I was looking forward to it because it's something new. And I'm happy to say on screen, Deadpool translates much better on screen than he does on page, I think. His humor, his jokes, his breaking the fourth wall works much better on film than he does on paper. So as for the film, yeah, it's exactly what you'd expect. So if you're a fan of Deadpool, what you see in the comics is what you get in the film. It's crass, it's lewd, it's ultra violent. There's just ridiculous meta humor, jokes, breaking the fourth wall. So yeah, without actually, saying my whole piece in one go, yeah. So that was my background on Deadpool, and the film is exactly like it. Did you find the same? Like, how did you? I don't think you'd read anything about Deadpool, Jason. Did you think he was how you thought he was going to be from the trailers, or?
Yeah, it was definitely interesting for me because I had not read the comics. I knew very, very little about Deadpool before going to it. But yeah, after watching it, I would say it's pretty close to what I was expecting. Based on what I've heard about like breaking the fourth wall and the meta humor and all that stuff. And I really liked all of that. I thought they were the strongest aspects of the film was just the talking to the audience and making these kind of remarks and just like these little references to things. Like he mentions he said, "Don't make me a green suit" or whatever, referencing his Green Lantern and things like that. Yeah. I thought that was really fun. Yeah, and just I really loved all of the talking to the camera stuff. It was very enjoyable.
I think, like I said, I think it did work on film. I think it really does work on film better than it does in the comic. The film, if you're wondering, I thought it was good. I thought it was enjoyable. I didn't hate it in any sense. I thought I would have liked it slightly more than I did, but it's still a very fun time, especially what you expect from the trailer. My biggest problem with it, I think, is that it didn't. I felt like there could have been a lot more. Like that. So what we see, first of all, we saw the test footage of him on the highway. That very hilarious, ultra-violent scene of him on the highway, beating up, shooting those guys. They're shooting back and forth, blah blah. That's in the film. That I think a refilm version that is in the film, and that once again works real well. But that's how we start the film. Then we keep cutting back to Wade Wilson's origin story. We come back to the film, we cut back to the origin story, we come back to the highway, we come back to the origin story. And it does that a couple of times for about the good first half of the film. While I like that way of doing it, I think that worked better than just showing Wade Wilson's origin story, then the highway, then the climax. It did mix it up a bit, but it just feels like by that point, we should have been further on somewhere. Like, I don't know. Still, I think it was great the way they did it, and the backstory actually made me care about Wade Wilson. And I've forgotten it hasn't even been a week, and I've forgotten the girl's name and the lead female.
Gosh, I just saw it and I've forgotten her name.
Okay, so that's a bit worse than me. But anyway, her character, Marina Baccarin's character, yeah. So their relationship actually. How ridiculous it was. They had this marathon sex session in it. Their relationship actually was fleshed out over the film, and it actually, you got invested in it. So then, when the film actually started progressing, they introduced Colossus and Mega Sonic Teenage Warhead, or whatever her name was. Once again, I've forgotten.
Yeah, you're right.
That's it. Those characters were funny.
It's Negasonic Teenage Warhead. You were right.
Yep. Those characters were funny and added a lot to it, and I like that they. I once again, I like that they poked fun at how Deadpool comes to the X-Men mansion and he says, well, you know, for such a big mansion, I only see you two. It's like the studio couldn't afford more characters, you know. So
Yeah, I love
I
that.
like the little nods like that. That was funny.
Yeah, I love that as well. I liked all the jokes directed at Negasonic Teenage Warhead, like especially like all the Sinead O'Connor jokes, like the "nothing compares to you" line and stuff. That made me laugh because yeah, obviously she looks quite like her with that short hair. I really enjoyed, and like the scene with Deadpool repeatedly punching Colossus and like breaking both of his hands and his legs because
that was good.
That was really funny.
I think that's what I kind of wanted to see more. I wanted it to go kind of this really light-hearted route while still being so ridiculously over the top, so violent, and I think by the end of it, I got to feel like it really took itself a bit too seriously. Kind of, even though it remained jokey. This is really hard to explain. I think it kind of turned into the kind of thing they were making fun of. I think they should have just detracted completely from the the structure of the acts. You know, like because I think even at the end they're on the flying airship from the Winter Soldier or the Avengers. You know, that's what that final thing, a broken one from the Captain America 2. And it kind of did turn generic at the end. I think in the last act, so that kind of let it down. But yeah, for the most part, I think it was fun. It's definitely not my favorite. Like, I don't think it even ranks amongst my favorite superhero movies. But for something different and something new and fresh, yeah, it's up there. Like, it's fun. It's not like, you know, this is not Iron Man. This is not Captain America. This is not, you know, the Dark Knight. Even like this is a completely its own separate thing.
Yeah, I thought I pretty much agree. In terms of like the act structure and stuff, that was one of my notes. I found that for all the talk of like its subversion, like how it's subverting things, how because I got the impression of Deadpool as being like very sort of a lot of anarchy and that kind of thing, like just breaking formulas and everything, and there is a lot of sarcasm and irony and all these references to that, but the plot structure ended up being pretty standard. Like, it is the standard structure, you know, it's the origin story. He has a girlfriend. There's the bad guy who he defeats in the end, that kind of thing. It is pretty much a very standard superhero film in that aspect. And I was expecting more. I was hoping for something just completely different. I was hoping they would just like abandon all the kinds of preconceptions that we might have had and just gone with something. And I know that would probably be that would be a very risky thing to do, I think, because people do expect a certain thing from superhero films. And I think maybe, you know, maybe we wanted something different, but maybe most of the casual viewing audience wants to see stuff that's similar to what they've already seen because they know they like it. They don't want to try anything new. Maybe perhaps for Deadpool 2, they'll try something a bit more out there because people will be more familiar with the character. People will be familiar with the world, familiar with the humor, etc. So maybe they will decide to go for something completely different for the next one. That would be my hope.
Well, that's right. Yeah. And I mean, the initial reaction from the actual fans of Deadpool, I wouldn't class myself or Jason as a fan of Deadpool. I'm not really that well versed in him. But the initial reaction from the fans is overwhelmingly positive. Everybody seems to love it. So I think for fan service and in the way of that, it's doing an excellent job. And I think the fans are really responding to it really well. And I know for the cinema I was in, I saw an advanced screening last Friday night, and it was packed. And the cinema was erupting in laughter from beginning to end. And even in the opening credits, you know, like as soon as it opens, like in the first 20 seconds, you know, the cinema was erupting in these fits of laughter, and I did like the opening credits. I thought that was funny.
I agree. It started off really strongly with that, just these stupid like fake credits kind of thing, like directed by overpaid Tool, that kind of thing. Yeah. I thought that was like really good.
Written by the real heroes here and all this kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
I thought that was funny.
And things like CGI character and like bad guy and like all these other love interests, etc. I really like that. See, again, that's sort of poking fun at the predictability, I suppose, of these films. But like as I said, and as you said as well, it followed it. Like it was being ironic about it, like at least in the beginning, but it did sincerely follow this formula. I really wish it just went like, you know, it it went for it basically. But I mean, you take what you can get. It was still a really fun film. There was so much I liked about it. It's very funny, and T.J. Miller. I really like T.J. Miller. What were your thoughts on his character? I thought he was really funny, especially the scene where he's talking to Deadpool after his face has been all messed up and just starts telling like how awful he looks. I really like that.
Yeah, I thought T.J. Miller was really funny in it, and I thought he's going to be a bit overbearing because I see him on. I saw him on a couple of talk shows not long ago, and his humor on talk shows is really absurd and really out there, and it kind of feels like he's trying just a bit too hard for laughs. But in Deadpool, he was genuinely funny. I actually thought at points he was funnier than Wade Wilson himself, Deadpool himself. And I thought he stole the show in a lot of the scenes he was in. He was rather funny. But can we talk about the? Did you stay for the end credits scene?
Yes, I was going to bring that up as well. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So I stayed right to the end, and the last thing. So at the end, Deadpool walks out of. He's got like a shower cap or whatever, a bathrobe or something on, and he walks out. He says, "What are you guys still doing here? It's over. Go home. We haven't got Samuel L. Jackson. Go home, that's it." And then he leaves the room, and then that's all we got. But I'm hearing that was the advanced scrning last weekend, the VIP screening.
There was more after that.
Yeah, there's a bit more. So what happened? Because I didn't see it.
Yeah, no, it was pretty much much the same thing afterwards. Like he pops back out behind the wall, and I think he talks a little bit too, just talking about what's going to be for Deadpool 10. But it wasn't very long. It was like another maybe 10, 15 seconds.
Okay.
But pretty much all of the cinema that I was in left before come on guys, you have to expect an end a scene after the credits for a Marvel film, even though it's a Fox film, is still Marvel affiliated. So people just never learn.
I don't know why people don't stay for the end of Marvel films now. I like that they got Stan Lee in there again. I wasn't sure if he was going to be in this. I hadn't read anything about it, but he was. He was the announcer in the strip club.
Yeah, that was a really fun cameo. Yeah, that's probably one of his better cameos. I think. Just
definitely.
It's such a ridiculous. It kind of reminded me of Hugh Hefner. And actually, thinking about also that end credit scene, just quickly. Do you think it was do you think it was a parody of Ferris Bueller's Day Off? Because I remember the end of Ferris Bueller's Day Off being kind of the same thing. Like he's talking to the camera again. I think he said something like the movie's finished. You can leave now or something like that. I don't know.
It was even shot similar. I think to Ferris Bueller's Day Off. So.
Yeah, I think he was also wearing like a bathrobe or something at the end of that. Yeah, so that's a funny. Hopefully that is like a direct parody. I'm not just sort of drawing lines and drawing things together that weren't meant to be like that. But
No, I definitely think that was a fair nod to Ferris Bueller because it seemed pretty similar. And then they set up the sequel, which has already been greenlit. That was greenlit yesterday.
Yeah,
the script is being written, so that is coming.
Yeah, hopefully this film does well financially. I think it will, just based on all the reactions we've seen so far, based on all the hype. Thanks to the amazing marketing campaign, I think it will do well. Whether it remains as at the top of the comic book movies pile by the end of the year, I doubt it. A lot of people are more optimistic than me, thinking it'll do really well. But I guess what works against it is the one thing that makes it great is the R rating in the US, MA here. That's one thing that's going to work against it in a financial sense. But
definitely.
In terms of
sorry, go ahead.
In terms of quality, it's probably going to be close. I think Batman vs Superman will be better, hopefully. But Deadpool is a really fun film
and I think for now it's just a unique film. It's not trying to just be a generic superhero movie. It is something different. It has this R rating, MA here, like you said. It is going to definitely stand out when at the end of the year when we've got Batman v Superman, we've got Doctor Strange, when we've got Suicide Squad. It will definitely feel like the odd one out because it is so different. It is so it just doesn't follow the same formula. Like it's there's swearing, there's nudity. Well, not really nudity, but there is there's violence, there's people being killed.
There's one scene with a lot of nudity in the aforementioned strip club scene with which Stan Lee appeared in.
Yes,
that's pretty much the only nudity in the film, I think.
That's right. So out of 5 stars, Jason, what are you giving Deadpool?
Yeah, that's the question. I've been tossing up between 3.5 and 4. part of me wants to give it 4 because I just had a really fun time with it. But then part of me wants to give it 3.5 because even though I had a lot of fun with it, I feel like they just could have done more. I'm thinking I might give it a 4 just because I really did have a good time. It was very funny. The action scenes were great. The characters were great. It's a really fun time. Even though it could have done more, as it stands, it's still a really fun film, and I think they're going to do more for the sequel. What about you? What do you think you'll give it out of 5?
Yeah, I'm going 3.5, 3.5 out of 5 stars because yeah, initially, yeah, it ended. I thought that was great, and then the more I thought about it, I thought, yeah, I wish that it was just slightly more like it was exactly what, it was exactly what you'd expect it to be and what the fans expected to be. Deadpool, the character, seems to be exactly how he is in the comics, so they've stayed true to that. The R rating definitely helps, obviously, and yeah, everything that makes people love the character Deadpool is intact in the film. So yeah, I just wish that it had have just. I don't know. I don't even know if it could have pushed the envelope a bit more. I just wish it had been story-wise a bit more. But yeah, 3.5. It's incredibly fun, and it will definitely remain one of the most unique films of 2016 for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, by the way, Vanessa was the character. It was Marina Baccarin's name. Vanessa. I don't know why I didn't remember. I guess it's just it's an average name. It's just a name. I agree.
So yeah, I think
we pretty much in agreement.
Yeah, definitely. Sorry, the stream kind of was a little dodgy there. But yeah, like you were saying, yeah, we're definitely in agreement. It's a good film, not a great film. I think not an excellent superhero film. But it is definitely enjoyable, and if what you're looking for is just this violent, crude, fun time, yeah, go see Deadpool.
Agreed. It's a lot of fun. All right, I guess that wraps it up. Yeah, that wraps it up. Thanks, guys, for tuning in, and hopefully we'll be back with some more reviews of upcoming releases. We've got so much stuff to get through. We've got Batman vs Superman, we've got Suicide Squad, and this is all just the superhero side. It's all these other big films coming too. So hopefully we'll have more of these in the future. But so yeah, thanks, guys, for watching, and we'll talk to you later.
Bye.